Hi Floss Tube, I'm Tamara. I am the PD Stitcher and this is my first Floss Tube video. So I hope that you all like it and that you find me fun enough that you'll want to come back and visit again. And that I won't be so scared that I won't ever do this again. I'm the PD Stitcher because I live in the PD region of South Carolina. I live in Florence, which is about an hour and a half from Myrtle Beach, depending on how bad the traffic is. The PD River, the Great PD River and the Little PD River run right near here, so that's how we became the PD region, and that's how I came up with my name for YouTube and for Instagram. I am PD Stitcher on Instagram, and I am PD Stitcher here on YouTube. And then a little bit about me. I am a homeschooling mama of 5. I have homeschooled my children. They've never gone to school. They've been homeschooled since they started school. My oldest is 19 and he graduated two Mays ago. And that was very exciting because I'd actually successfully graduated our first homeschool student. And his name is Bobby. He's our only boy. He's going to be a sophomore this year at the university here in town, and he's studying nursing. And he is working at a sports store because he's a super athlete type person. He played soccer his whole entire life, and now he is not playing soccer in college, but he is coaching a club team, which at 19 years old is a pretty impressive feat, and he is enjoying it. And he just got his coach's license last weekend, and so he's very busy with that. We see him very rarely. He's living at home, but I hardly ever see him. And then I have the rest of my children. I have 4 girls. I have a set of twins who are 16. They'll be juniors this year. Aria is the oldest twin by 2 minutes, but that matters. And she also has played soccer. She's run cross country. She does track. Several of my kids do track. I'll talk about all of that in just a second. She is now currently starting to get interested in theater. She picked up that interest from her twin sister, Braylee, who is very active at the little theater here in our town, and Braylee has done dance, and she was in ballet and lyrical and jazz until she had a stress fracture in her ankle, and it just never really healed correctly. So she now has a lot of pain, so she can't dance, which is very sad, but she really enjoys theater. So I'm glad she found something that she enjoys and is having fun doing. So those are my twins. And then I have a 14-year-old girl named Kaylin who does track and cross country. She's going to be a freshman in high school this year. She is a competitive race walker for track, which if you don't know what race walking is, definitely Google it. It is very interesting. It's not running and it's not mall walking. It's not speed walking. There's some rules and you have to abide by those rules or you can be disqualified. And she's become very, very good at it. 2 years ago, she was 7th in her age group in the nation. Last year, she was 5th in the nation in her age group. This year, we did not go to nationals because the national meet was in California. We live in South Carolina. It's a very long trip, very expensive trip, and we just couldn't make that trip. So, but her time would have put her probably 3rd, 4th, or 5th in the nation, depending on how she raced that day. So she's a really hard worker when it comes to race walking. And then I have Brittany. Brittany is my youngest. She is 11 and will be 6th grade this year. She also plays soccer. In fact, this morning, my husband and Aria and Brittany are at soccer practice. Brittany and my husband coaches, and Brittany plays for a club that's about an hour and a half away. So they left early this morning to go to soccer practice for the day. Aria went with them because she played for this club last year and they needed another player just to come and scrimmage with. So she went. Brittany also runs cross country. She plays volleyball. She's played tennis. She's done tumbling. Brittany is my all around athlete. She also race walks. Both she and Kaylin also throw javelin, and both of them have qualified in the past for the national meet in javelin. So they're that's them. And as you can tell, they keep me very busy, taking them to and from activities. So I do a lot of stitching at track meets, at cross-country meets, because there's a lot of time where you're just sitting around. And I do a lot of stitching in the car while I'm waiting for them during practice, and waiting to pick them up after practice or after a rehearsal. So that's how I get a lot of my stitching time done. I've been stitching since I was probably 9 or 10. I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina, which was the home of Designs by Gloria and Pat. For those of you who remember them, they were very, very popular in the 80s and 90s, which I was 10 in the 80s, and that's about as close as I want to tell you how old I am. And I learned at the little needle shop there that they had, and my first cross-stitch patterns were probably the Precious Moments by Gloria and Pat. I don't have any of those anymore. To be honest, I have no idea where they would have gone. But that makes me sad that I don't have them. But I do remember those days fondly, and I cross-stitched a lot when I was younger, and then I had 5 children in 7 years, and stitching just didn't happen because I was too busy being mama and homeschooling, and there wasn't a lot of time for stitching. I always had one project going at a time, and it was very slow going, but it was going, because I've cross-stitched Christmas stockings for all 5 of my children. The last one I just finished for Brittany last November, and that's when I kind of picked back up into actual stitching, because I realized, hey, I'm still homeschooling, but my kids are older and they're more independent, and I can have more time for me. And so now I stitch a little bit every morning, and I try and stitch some in the afternoons or evenings when I have some free time. And it's been very exciting. In fact, I've now started stocking number 6 because my husband doesn't have a homemade Christmas stocking. So his is next, and I'll show that in just a little bit. And then I got introduced to floss tubes since I started back last November, and I found some floss tubers who have really inspired me. Obviously, Chelsea and Priscilla, and then there's Kayla at the Hufflepuff Stitcher, and Christy at Java Girl Stitches, and they have all inspired me. In fact, Kayla has introduced me to the Magical School of Stitches and Literature. I think that's the name of it, the Facebook group on about stitching and reading and all things Harry Potter at the moment. And so I've joined that, and the challenges there keep me motivated to continue to cross stitch, but it's also given me a lot of whips. So I have a lot of projects that are in my whip basket, and I'll show some of those now that I've been working on this week. So the first one is for the challenges this week. We had 5 challenges for the spells that we were learning in the Dumbledore's Army. And so the first one was to stitch 200 stitches in red metallic. And let me just say that metallic thread is of the devil. I don't like it. Not at all. So I've been working on the Queen of Hearts, which is a pattern from the Magical Sal by Creatively Crafting, and I'll link that below. And they're gorgeous patterns. All of the Magical Sal patterns are gorgeous, but they all use metallic thread, and it's so hard to stitch with. I'm actually finding it harder to stitch with the metallic than I'm finding it harder to stitch on black. Stitching on black isn't easy, but I don't mind that. It's the metallic thread that's killing me. So this week's challenges, they said that we could double them, and instead of doing 200, we could do 400 for double points, and I've done that for all of the other challenges this week. I don't know if I'm going to end up doing 400 stitches of the red metallic just because it's driving me crazy. So that's my Queen of Hearts, my red metallic. Then the second thing is Something Stunned, and my take on that is that I'm doing this project that is 1/1 on 32 count linen, and I'm not good at writing down, or haven't been good at writing down what kind of fabric it is, what color fabric it is. So I'm sorry, but I don't have that information. But this is 1/1, and it's very, very tiny stitches, and it's a lot of orange. All I've been working on is this part right here in orange, and I said that the tiny little stitches would stun anybody who's looking at them, and the large amount of orange would stun anybody who's having to deal with it. And so that was my take on that, and I did do 400 stitches in that this week. And I'm making that for my son, who is a huge Clemson fan. That's going to be a Clemson football helmet. And that pattern came from easypatterns.blogspot.com, and I'll link that below. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to finish that, if I ever finish that, but it's going to be for my son, who, like I said, is a huge Clemson fan. My Kaylin is also a huge Clemson fan, so I'm sure there's one in my future to make for her, just not anytime soon, and I'm not sure I'm going to do it 1/1 because that's really, really, really tedious. But for those of you who don't watch college football, Clemson is a huge football team. That's where I graduated from. My husband graduated from there. My son was accepted to Clemson, but decided to stay a little closer to home and go to the school in our town. But if you follow college football, you've heard of Clemson. They've won the national championship 2 out of the last 3 years. And that's very exciting for those of us who are Clemson grads. And then the next challenge was something in mid-air, and for that I'm working on my Angel of Freedom by Lavender and Lace, and I actually won this pattern in a giveaway from Kayla at the Hufflepuff Stitcher, and so I was very excited that I could use this for this challenge. And so I just started it on Thursday, because that was August 1st, and new month, new start. And this is how far I got with my 400 stitches. So I'm very excited to do that. I love angels. I was in a sorority in college, Pi Beta Phi, and our symbol was the angel. So I love angels. And then the next challenge was 200 stitches of something that is in pieces. I'm working on some Santas from Leisure Art Designs. I'm doing these 3, and they're all individual patterns, but they go together to make one project, which is how I'm putting together the something in pieces. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish it. I think I'm going to do it in a pillow, like on the thing, but I'm not really sure. But this is what I've done so far. And my 400 stitches this week, I put on Santa with the candle. The others I've done some, but this one is almost done. I'm very excited about that. And then the last challenge for this week of the 5 challenges was something related to my Patronus. So we had to figure out what our Patronus was by going to Pottermore. Mine is a fox. I don't have anything with a fox on it, but it said something related to my Patronus. Well, foxes live in the woods, and now I get to show you the stocking that I'm working on for my husband, because it is the Winter Wonderland stocking from Stony Creek. I did not mean to show y'all the pattern, but you can see that I highlight as I go, and I did not make a working copy, so I've been highlighting in the book. But this is the pattern. And it is almost done. All that's left is the back stitching, and it's slow going. I've done a lot of the back stitching. All of the animals down here have been back stitched, the lantern, and I'm halfway through back stitching the deer, and then I've got all these animals up here that I need to back stitch, and then there's some metallic back stitching to go along the post and on the lantern as well. And then this will be done, and maybe by the next time I see y'all, I will have a finish. I'm so excited. But that is going to be his Christmas stocking. And then another thing I've been working on, this is something that I'm trying to finish by the end of August. Braylee is a huge Harry Potter fan, and I found this Harry Potter chart on Etsy by Lady D Designs. However, I've gone back several times to try and find Lady D Designs on Etsy since then, and I can't find it, so I can't link it because I can't find it, and I don't know if the store went away or if I'm just that technically non-savvy. But I don't have a picture of it to show you, but here is where I am right now. And you can, it's almost done, so I'm hoping by August it will be done, but you can tell all I have left to do is Harry's head and a little bit right here of the owl, and then that one will be done. So you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like without a finished picture. And that is me, and I'm hoping that next time I'll have more finishes to show you, or at least a finish to show you. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me and getting to know me, and I want to get to know all of you. I have fallen in love with FlossTube, and there's so many that I follow, but I'm hoping to, each time I share my own FlossTube, to do a shout out to a few and then link them. But like I said, this time the ones that really have influenced me have been Chelsea and Priscilla, and Kayla at the Hufflepuff Stitcher, and Christy at Java Girl Stitches. And if you liked my video and you want to follow me, I would love to have you follow me. Just click the follow button below. You can find me on Instagram. I'm PD Stitcher, and I will also link that below. And I hope you all have a great day, and I will be back probably in a week or two. Bye, FlossTube.